So there's no silver bullet in investing. And so if you're looking for the silver bullet, you're not going to find it here. I'm sad to report. But the truth is you're not going to find it anywhere. So what you have to do is recognize, if you haven't already, that this is going to be work, this is going to require commitment, and it's going to require making lots of decisions. But what I can tell you is it doesn't have to be complicated. It can be simple. And that's really how I came up with the name Simple Wealth, because I've said this probably 10,000 times in my life, because I say it every time I'm on stage because I believe it so much. A lot of other people that do seminars don't like it when I talk about this, because they want you to believe that it's easy, fast, pain-free, and overnight, because that makes it easier to sell seminars, right? But I never say this. I don't say that it's easy, but it's simple. And this is such a core belief that I had. One of the things that I started thinking about was, as I went through the process of trying to figure out what the pillars are of wealth, I realized that when I organized them properly, they actually spelled out the word simple, which was kind of mind-blowing for me, because not only would the company name be named after this slogan or this philosophy I have, but it actually represents the essence of the program. And so basically the 6 pillars that I believe you need to be aware of building wealth break down in the acronym SIMPLE. So I'm just going to cover them very quickly for you, and then I'll give you a few examples, okay? So number 1 is strategy. No doubt you have to pick a strategy. Unfortunately, this is what most people do on an exclusive basis. All they do is pick a strategy and think it's going to make them rich. Strategy is important, but it's not the only piece. This is the piece that most people think that it is. The second piece, which is the I, stands for intentions. Intentions is another way of saying goals. Intentions are simply getting clear in your mind about what it is you want to achieve in the future. That's really all it is. Very simple, but very powerful. And I'll come back to these in a minute to describe them in a little more detail. The M stands for mindset. I would say of all of them, this may be the most important one, because absolutely, as Henry Ford said, whether you think you can or you think you can't, either way, you're right. The mind is an absolutely incredible thing. And I believe it's the mind where everything else that happens in our lives starts. I'm a staunch believer in the law of attraction. Not that if I just think positive thoughts and think about, daisies and rainbows, that my life's going to turn out well and I'm going to be rich. The law of attraction, I don't think The Secret, the movie The Secret. Who's seen The Secret? Fantastic idea, very poor execution. The bottom line is The Secret, I think, misleads most people, because it tells you that basically as long as you hold your thought strong enough and resolute and you think positively, things are going to happen to you. But what they miss in The Secret is the action side of it. And what you'll see, in fact, is a lot of the people that were in The Secret are now distancing themselves from The Secret, because that's how it ended up being promoted, was that think positively and good things come to you. Well, that's one part of it. But your mindset is tremendously powerful, and I'm a big believer in that. And I'll share examples with you over the next 3 days that demonstrate that. So without question, if you have a poor mindset, you will never be wealthy. You might get it quickly, but you're going to lose it just as fast. The P stands for principles. And I've developed a list of what I call my 21 prosperity principles. And these are simply the rules and the laws of wealth. And they're not all brand new laws you've never heard. In fact, the law of attraction is one of them. But what this really does is it pays homage to the 21 principles that I think are the most powerful in building and keeping your wealth. The L stands for leverage. I don't care what anybody says. Anybody who is wealthy right now, unless they married the money, they inherited the money, they stole the money, or they won the money, they use leverage to get wealthy. There's not one single wealthy person that has not used leverage. And the secret here is, most of you are thinking leverage means lots of financing, right? Lots of mortgages and lots of that, because we're real estate people. That's not what I'm talking about. Leverage, financial leverage is powerful, but there's actually 4 types of leverage you can use. And I'm going to give you some examples of that in a few minutes here. The E stands for execution. At the end of the day, it's all about taking action. And you can do all the learning you want and have all the great mindset that you want and have and live by all the principles, but at the end of the day, if you don't do anything, you don't pull the trigger, none of it matters. And this is the piece that I think most law of attraction teaching is missing, is that you've got to get out there and take action. You know, motion creates emotion. So this is basically the simple approach to wealth creation. And again, I distinguish between simple and easy because there's a big distinction there. It sounds, you know, semantic, but it's powerful.